Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Sometimes you guys hear me go a little too hard at social conservatives or the religious right. And it's not that I am not conservative. I'm actually very conservative in my personal life. I'm very conservative in my theology. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't party. I don't really leave the house besides to go to the gym and to the grocery store. That was pre-COVID, by the way, as well as post-COVID. So when you guys hear me critique the religious right, it's not without merit, and it's really a critique of some of their tactics and some of their methodologies. And recently, The Hill did a story highlighting some of the ineffectiveness of them creating actual change. And I'm going to get into a Bible verse that hopefully ties this all together. But this is a very interesting story about the New York Times having a seemingly instant victory against PornHub with one editorial completely picking apart PornHub. Now, PornHub, all kinds of sketchy behavior, all kinds of sketchy stuff. Outside of just porn, they have all kinds of just nasty stuff on there, stuff with kids, rape, all kinds of wild stuff, right? And so they, first of all, porn is just not good for you in general. Even non-Christians, psychologists would say that, right? By and large, not everybody, but by and large. And specifically, the organization is just kind of jacked up. And social conservatives, people from the religious right, have attempted to, take apart PornHub to help ease the war, not the war, but to help like alleviate some of the stuff. And it just hasn't been effective. And one New York Times article completely moved the needle. It's pretty wild to think about. And so I wanted to highlight this for us because this will give you a bit more insight into some of the differences with approach. Okay, some of the differences with approach. And so this is The Hill, popular YouTube channel. It is a two faces, usually one of which is a conservative, one of which is a progressive. Sagar, I think is his name, Sagar. I don't know how to say his last name, is going to be sharing this like commentary. And I wanted just to react to a few moments of it to give you guys some context and then kind of parallel it to some of the stuff I talk about, why my methodology, that kind of stuff. Let's check this out, all right?
One New York Times article did more to restrict pornography than every elected conservative politician in the country put together. If you want policy change, you have to influence the left. It's important to realize what a scam conservatism is beyond taxes and war.
Okay, so New York Times puts out an article calling out PornHub on all their sketchy behavior, the trafficking, the rape, and the unverification, the revenge porn. There's a lot of just nasty stuff on there. So there's a New York Times article that comes out just lighting them up, and PornHub responds and starts making all these choices, right? All these changes. PornHub just announced huge changes. A, allow uploads only from verified users. B, no downloads. C, improvements in moderation. Initial intake, a great deal depends on how responsibly PornHub implements these, and it hasn't earned my trust at all, but these seem significant, right? And then this guy says, hey, one New York Times article did more to restrict pornography than every elected conservative politicians in this country put together. If you want policy change, you have to influence the left. If you want policy change, you have to influence the left. Important to realize what a scam conservatism is for anything beyond taxes and war. Woo-wee. Okay, now let's hear. I believe you say his name's Sagar. Let's listen to him break this down. I think he puts this eloquently. A lot of stuff I feel like he just was reading my mind. Okay, check this out.
You have to influence the left. It's important to realize what a scam conservatism is beyond taxes and war. Hi, folks. Richard is right, and it's worth really understanding how profound that point actually is. Conservative politicians, activists, TV hosts like a guy named Sagar Enjeti
Sagar, that's his name, my bad.
Talking about the evils of PornHub for a long time, mostly ridiculed by people on the left, called theocrats, looked at weirdly. PornHub, one of the most influential companies in the world, owned by an even more influential company, laughed all the way to the bank. Their ideal is having people like me on YouTube and a bunch of other irrelevant, frankly, conservatives being the only ones who care about this issue. That's the real nightmare. As they showed us, the center left waking up to the fact that these people quite literally profit off of rape is a real threat, and it contributes to the widespread societal degradation.
So did you guys catch all that? So he's saying, listen, Pornhub doesn't really care when conservative talking heads like him, other channels that are coming at these things, because they're just going to keep profiting. They're going to dismiss him. He said, but the moment the center left starts getting hip to the trafficking, the revenge porn, the rape, all of a sudden, Pornhub creates some of the biggest changes in their policy, like virtually overnight, because of a New York Times article. Very fascinating. Let's keep watching.
That's what happened. The moment the center left paid even a modicum of attention, they snapped to. Which tells me this. At its core, conservatism in America has no power whatsoever. It's largely a ghetto ideology of grievances, but with no plan of action. So unserious that real threats from conservative lawmakers, which have actually existed for years now, have zero impact whatsoever on how society governs itself. I think anyone who calls himself a social conservative in this country should be asking tough questions. How did this happen? First off, there is a temptation within the conservative movement to say, screw the left and the mainstream media. Working with them, paying attention to them, caring what they have to say, it's loser behavior. You
guys catch that? That sound familiar? Screw the left is bad, fake news, forget the left. And what is he saying? He's saying, no, you have to work with them. One New York Times article gets more done in terms of restricting Pornhub than just about any other conservative politician, any conservative lawmaker. Okay? Does this sound familiar to you guys? Okay, so check this out. Let's keep watching.
That is true to a certain extent if you just do...
That is true, by the way. The left, the media, all that stuff is true. But let's be pragmatic as well.
What they say you should. But ignoring them outright is absolutely the wrong move. Because as we just saw, as much as we want to dunk and say the New York Times is irrelevant or that the cable networks are losing viewers, and there's a lot of truth to that, they still remain immensely powerful.
This is a conservative talking, by the way. This is someone that is a conservative. I hold his position on this, right? I hold his position when it comes to things that hurt other people, like pornography, which is shown to hurt kids and children and young people stumbling across it. I think that should be restricted. I don't know how much it should be restricted. I don't know what policies it should be in place. But the fact that they're waking up because of the center left, because of folks on in the center left, specifically the New York Times, saying something, all of a sudden it's starting to make sense. Let's keep watching.
Able to influence events at the highest level in a way that a conservative show or tweet or more just can't. If Nick Kristof's column was on Substack or a series of tweets, Pornhub wouldn't care. But when it came to hurting their bottom line with a byline in the New York Times, they did. Now, maybe someday somebody will come up with an answer to the New York Times, but I doubt it. I think it is going to remain as is, and probably even more powerful in the years to come. Which means that if you want to affect cultural change, or of any kind, to both, you have to care and try to influence what happens over there.
You have to care and try. You have to care and try to influence what happens over there.
And the second is an even more important one. When conservatives and others on the right are right about something, they need to speak in the language of the majority and not let the perfect be the enemy of the good.
When conservatives are right, they need to learn to speak in the language of the majority and not let perfect be the enemy of progress.
There is a deep strain within social conservatism, especially at the activist and pundit level, which seeks to cast out as traitors anyone who seeks compromise or seeks to communicate a message without seeking victory in the most absolute terms. That is true on abortion, it's true on guns, it was true on gay marriage, it remains true today on whatever the hot button issues are. But as we just witnessed, pretty much the only way to actually get something done is to speak and act in such a way that is actually interested in reducing the phenomena that you pretend to oppose, even if it's not completely eradicated. And a book that's important to me, it's by author Michael Lind, who's been on the show. It's called New Class War. In it, Michael makes the profound and important point that in America, there is no winning the culture war. There's only compromise, solution, and balance. If that's your only aim, then you're going to lose. If you're willing to live with balance and you're willing to actually try and get something done, then there's a new world out there for you. And,
So compromise, balance, right? What are we talking about? Again, if we understand the state of humanity, we understand the state of the world, we understand that people are sinners, people are going to do what they want to do, consistently trying to legislate morality that they feel like is imposing on their free will is not a long-term solution. However, when you frame it not as I'm trying to legislate morality, I'm trying to take my values and put them on you. What I'm saying is, hey, you know why porn is bad? Because think about the kids, right? Think about the time you were first exposed to porn. Think about the time I was 5 when I was first exposed to porn. Imagine now, a lot of these kids have these devices, right? So it's not about controlling people's morality. It's saying, let's protect people. You see how the argument shifts, right? Instead of saying, hey, I am the moral authority, my faith is the moral authority, I'm going to tell you what to do with your life. You say, no. Hey, we got to protect the kids. Come on, liberals, Democrats, leftists, we love the kids. We don't like sex trafficking. We got to let's protect the kids. Give you another example. When people say, oh, well, when it comes to the issue of Roe v. Wade, and I would say, yeah, I don't want to control a woman's body. I have zero desire to control what decisions a woman makes with her body. And they go, so you're pro-choice. I'm like, well, the other human growing inside of the woman's body is technically not just the woman's body. It takes 2 people to create that other person. That person has their own DNA. That's not another person. Let's protect that other person. Right? Let's protect that other person. When does life really start? You think life starts up at breath or at conception, right? And so the conversation changes from I'm trying to tell you what to do to say, no. Let's look at it pragmatically. There's 2 sets of DNA in there. That's not just the woman's body. That's another person in there. And therefore, we wouldn't be okay with somebody driving drunk and hurting somebody, even though it's their freedom to get drunk, but we wouldn't want them to get on the road and hurt somebody in the same way we wouldn't want someone who's carrying another person inside of their body to hurt that other person. In the same way, that person who's carrying another person in their body, if they were to get attacked, if they were to get hurt, and they were to die, that would technically be double murder, right? And so we use more pragmatic methods to talk about these things, to discuss these things, to say, what are common values? People, by the way, people are created in the image of God. The issue with the folks on the religious right is they want to otherize and they want to demonize and they want to dismiss everybody as, oh, well, they just want kids to look at porn. Oh, they just want to kill babies. Maybe a small section of over there that are just crazy want to do that. But by and large, people don't want to hurt kids. People don't want to hurt babies. Okay. People are just in their own ideological soapbox of free expression. Yeah, but you're hurting babies. Oh, I'm hurting babies? No, free express my body. Oh, free, right? It's the same ideological tunnel vision, echo chamber that's exhibited on both sides. And when people start to talk to each other or people start to pragmatically examine the issues, hey, this website does a lot of harm. It actually does a lot of harm to a lot of people. Now you start finding some common ground. Now you start making some progress. Now you start changing things. And so my question is for those of us that identify as Christians, if you are a Christian, was Jesus known by the things he was against, or was Jesus known by the things he was for? That's a really important thing to ask. Like if we look at his reputation, if we look at the reputation of Paul, if we look at the reputation of the early church, were they known by the things they were against, or were they known by the things they were for? And if we as believers start becoming people that are known by the things we are for, then I think that the tide will change. So how did Jesus deal with people far from God? Was he liked by people who didn't know Jesus, didn't know Christ, didn't know God, people that were in sin? Was he liked by those people? Did those people enjoy being around him? Yeah. Did he disagree with those people? Yeah. Right? He kept telling them to repent. Right? He kept telling them to repent. Who were the people that persecuted Jesus? The religious people. So let me pull up this passage, and I want you guys to really... I really want you guys to consider this. There's a lot in this passage, but I feel like this is good. Like I feel like our mentality can learn more from this. I'm gonna pull it up here in a second. Let's see. Where the heck is it? I'll mark this right here so I can go back and turn this. Hey, if you're watching this live, give this video a quick thumbs up.